I believe in truth. But I'm also a big fan of justice.
This is Henry Cavill.
She's at the tower with your little friend, Marilka.
This is also Henry Cavill.
Just as the Dowager wanted. The boy I deduced would not, or would his father have?
And all three of these are projects that severely misuse this amazing actor. What's happening, everybody? It's Max from the Nerd Desk, and today we're talking about one of my personal favorite actors. Now, there are a lot of those: Seth MacFarlane, Ben Stiller, and if you've been watching me a while, you know how much I love Joaquin Phoenix.
Lamb chop.
But there's another that I really didn't appreciate until a few years ago: Henry Cavill. And you know, that underappreciation really sums up a lot of Henry's career, which is really unfortunate, and that's what we're going to get to the bottom of today. Think of this as a career timeline / video essay hybrid. So, starting at the beginning, Henry's career began with him acting in things like The Count of Monte Cristo, I Captured the Castle, and Hotel Lacuna. I personally haven't seen these things, but this is where he started. The next, and I would say first real notable project Henry starred in, was the 2007 history drama The Tudors. While the show was seemingly well received, it still wasn't anything too special. But after the show's end, in 2011, Cavill had his first major role in the Greek fantasy movie Immortals. Think of this movie like a better version of Gods of Egypt mixed with 300. It's definitely an airplane movie, but it's by no means bad. Now it's 2013. The guys over at Warner Brothers in DC are taking note of Marvel's new blockbuster success with their recent cinematic universe. So naturally, they try to start their own universe with a Superman movie. And who else to play the leading man than new star Henry Cavill? And this is where the problems begin. Now, I will be the first to admit, Man of Steel is a pretty cool movie. The jump from Richard Donner's 5-part saga to this is night and day, with good effects and a good villain.
I will find him!
But an issue that has been pretty well talked about by a lot of other YouTubers: this movie didn't really understand Superman, and the excessive destruction really wasn't necessary. That being said, Cavill's acting was amazing, and I think he fit the role really well. Throughout the 2010s, Henry kept playing Superman in increasingly mediocre movies. He was good in Batman vs. Superman, even though the movie was... how it was. He did alright in Justice League with what little screen time he had, and I honestly thought he had a really funny cameo in Shazam.
I invited another friend. I hope that's okay.
But he couldn't show his face for the scene because he was busy growing out his mustache for Mission Impossible Fallout. Cavill did a pretty good job in this movie and got an awesome fight scene with Tom Cruise. After Shazam, though, he took a break from Superman for a role that he was very openly passionate about, but also stands to be the biggest misuse of his talent. That's right, baby, we're talking about Netflix's biggest missed opportunity, The Witcher. This show had the potential to be Netflix's Game of Thrones. A very good book series with a good budget and good actors.
You're a dick. With balls. Balls I got from humans!
And it started off with a pretty decent first season, but after that, well, I mean, everybody knows how messy the rest of the show was after that, but before we talk about it, we gotta cover something very important about Henry. He is a massive nerd.
Nerd.
There are many clips of him talking about Warhammer 40,000 or playing video games, including The Witcher. Several times, Cavill has gone on record talking about playing The Witcher games or reading the books and just how much he loves that world.
Played that game to the death.
Really?
And then I heard it was coming out. I met the showrunner, and that's when I learned there were books. Read the books, and I realized I was missing out on a whole world of this stuff because I've been into the fantasy genre since I was a kid.
Same here, man.
Nerd.
All of this should prove how perfect Henry's casting as Geralt, the main lead, really was. On top of having the right physique and just being a very good actor, there was a true layer of passion and thought put into his performance. Key word being was. Because after the first season of The Witcher, the showrunners, mainly writer Lauren Hissrich, started making a lot of changes to the story. Now, changing a story isn't always a bad thing, many people have said that before, but here in Season 2, the lore, geography, and even the way certain characters act is all being changed in favor for lesser versions. This is something that Henry, being a fan of the books, naturally wouldn't like, and he tried his best to course correct where he could. I kid you not, he basically forced the showrunners to include a scene in Season 2 that would add context from the book to make the show better. But this was all to no avail, and around the same time the Witcher spin-off Blood Origin came out, it was confirmed that Season 3 of the main series would be the last time Henry would play Geralt. And due to how low people's hopes were for the show, they used Henry himself as advertisement to get people to watch it. Which comes off as really desperate and is also really disrespectful to Liam Hemsworth, who they have coming up next to play the Witcher after Henry's gone. Even though Netflix said that Season 3 would be more accurate to the original story, it really wasn't, and it was very disappointing. Henry felt really underused in a show that's supposed to be about him. He had a few decent scenes, but they were all drowned out by bad CGI, poor writing, and more emphasis put on the secondary leads over him. I can't believe they did Dijkstra this dirty. Moving on to other things, did you know that Henry got to play Sherlock Holmes? I know, an idea with lots of potential. Well, he did, but it didn't really matter much because it was just so he could be relegated to be the older brother of Millie Bobby Brown, as if Netflix hasn't given her enough money already. I mean, they did it twice, and all he does is just stand around and talk mysteriously and then progress the plot when it gets to the low point. Oh, but what about Superman? That seemed to be doing okay, right? Well, nobody watched the Snyder cut of Justice League, so that's out the window. Sorry, Zach. But in the post-credit scene of Black Adam, it showcased the long-awaited return of Henry as Superman after 3.5 years of waiting. But, you know, only 2 seconds later, and the whole DC universe gets fully rebooted with new actors, which meant Henry Cavill was out yet again. Like, Dwayne Johnson and Henry both made official announcements that he was back, only for them to be made false like a day later.
Losing his mind.
But most recently, and perhaps Henry's most misused role, was the new spy movie Argylle. The one with Dua Lipa and Sam Rockwell.
And it's capable of reducing the population of any standing structure to 0. I call it the ex-wife.
The trailer made it out to be a spy movie with Henry Cavill and John Cena, and Walter White was there too. It was gonna be awesome. And while I didn't think Argylle was as bad as people said it was, it definitely wasn't what the trailer made it out to be, with Argylle himself only getting like 10 minutes of screen time collectively across the whole 2-hour movie, which thankfully did include some awesome fight scenes. It's only now, like the past few months now, that Henry's career seems to be taking a turn for the better. But before I mention that, I gotta talk about how late of a, I guess I would say, comeback this really is. At the time of me making this video, Henry is 40 years old, which isn't old by any means, but still, most actors don't take this long to get big, and it's not like it's his fault either, it's the studios that don't treat him well. Henry is a legitimately really good actor with skill and enthusiasm, and while his story isn't as sad as something like Brendan Fraser's, it still personally irritates me. That's why I decided to make this video. It is an undeserving stream of wasted opportunity. Anyways, Henry's future is looking pretty bright these days. Next month, he's starring alongside Alan Ritchson in the very promising Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. After that, he's confirmed to be involved in the reboot of The Highlander. I haven't seen The Highlander yet. But his best project coming out that I kind of foreshadowed earlier is the Warhammer 40K streaming series coming to Amazon Prime. Henry will be both producing and starring in the series, and he's made several statements about fighting to make sure the show is good and staying accurate to the source material. And if the new Fallout trailer is anything to go off of, Amazon will help this show become something truly special. I like to think in this new, hopefully better chapter of Henry Cavill's career, he will finally get more than the cult following he has now. I'm certainly not giving up. I'm 10 paragraphs into this script. But seriously, I am happy to see how Henry's career seems to be picking back up in a more meaningful way than it was before. After the strikes and everything else movie-related that happened in 2023, I think the movie business as a whole is going to change, hopefully for the better, and I hope this video of me worshipping Henry Cavill has proven my point and done him enough justice.
Very good.
But with that said, thanks for watching everybody. I hope you found this video entertaining and informative. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more like it. and I'll see you nerds later.
Sylvia White ain't nothing but a holiday. Sylvia White ain't nothing but a mistake. Sylvia White, I never wanna hear you say I want it back.